Hello, good evening, and welcome to the match build-up show with the LFC Daytrippers for Liverpool versus Ajax in the Champions League. And the teams have just dropped. And to say it's a bit of a surprise, I think there's been a bit of a surprise in there. We'll talk about it now in a couple of seconds. I'm going to be joined now by Barry Carr and by Aaron. They're going to come in now in a second, and we're going to look at the Liverpool team and just sort of pick the bones out of it. Very interesting. Like I say, a lot of people were expecting us to go one way. We've gone another, and we're going to talk about that now. So just bear with me and I'll bring the lads in. So we're joined by Aaron and we're joined by Barry. Lads, how are you?
Go ahead, Aaron.
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Good stuff, good stuff. Boys, the team has dropped a few, I'd say there's a few surprises out there, a few surprised and shocked faces. I know I certainly was. Aaron, I'll start with you. No, do you know, I'll run through the team first. And then we'll talk about it. So we've got the big one that everybody will no doubt have seen is in goal. We've got Caoimhín Kelleher, which was an absolute shock. An absolute shock. I'd say to everybody, especially to Adrian, unless there's something there that we don't know about. So it's Kelleher in goal. It's Nico Williams at right back. Joe Matip and Fabinho in the centre. It's Robbo at left back. It's Hendo, Gini and Curtis in the middle with Mane, Salah and Jota up front. On the bench, right lads, on the bench is Adrian. It's Yaros. It's Firmino, Minamino, Kane, Tsimikas, Origi, Reece Williams and Clarkson. Seems to be all about goalies tonight, lads. Aaron, I'll come to you. Caoimhín Kelleher over Adrian. How surprised are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Where 1 is not surprised and 10 is my mind is blown.
I mean, we're closer towards the 10s. I'd say about an 8. I feel, we had the discussion before we went live. I feel like Adrian's, had his chance. I feel like it's probably good baptism of fire for him to give him a go, see what he's made of. We've always seen him in the League Cup games or the FA Cup games where maybe he hasn't got the defense that our Adrians would have in front of goal, and I feel like this would be a good test for him. We've got a good solid front four. I wouldn't say it's completely weak, but it's not the weakest that we have available. Yeah, very surprised.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Sorry, Barry, what about yourself?
Yeah, just to follow on from what Aaron was saying there, Kelleher has only played with probably a Sepp Vandenberg and a Kiana Hoover in front of him. So, I mean, we know nothing of the quality of this kid. I mean, he's been included in the international setup for Ireland for a number of selections now, and we talked about this in the pre-bit that Adrian's had his chance. We've seen enough of Adrian. Adrian, I think, it might be precautionary that he's left on the bench tonight, because at least if Alisson's is maybe longer than a few days, that you want Adrian to be absolutely right for the Premier League game. So if you want to take it in that sense, and balance it out, maybe Kelleher is we're just going to take this chance tonight where the stakes aren't going to be as high.
Very true. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I commented on Twitter about, the team strength. I'm surprised we've gone with Matip, with Fabinho, with Robbo, with Gini, because I think the risk of breaking down one of those players is huge for a game that essentially people are saying it's must win. It's not must win. A draw will put us through, and then we still have the cushion of the last game. Now, I know people don't want to take it to the last game. That's fair enough. You want to get these things wrapped up. Ideally, we wrap it up tonight, and then the last game, you're starting Kelleher, you're starting Kane, you're starting Clarkson, you're starting anybody you can pick out your under 23s, which is, ideally what we want. But, to go so strong, Nico Williams, look, we'll talk about Nico. Nico's come in for a lot of criticism lately, and if we're all being honest, I defended him before the game the other day on one of these shows, and the lad didn't, we spoke on the Fatback 4 the other night that we think it's probably in his head now that he's afraid to even play his game because every mistake is micro-analysed and it's, you know, he's getting lashed over from a height. Do you think, Aaron, I'll come back to you, do you think playing Nico Williams with Matip and Fabinho and Robertson with Henderson, Wijnaldum in around them, is that a good decision by Klopp to you know, we don't have an option at right back, so maybe put as much experience as we can around them, bar the keeper?
It's a great option. I feel like when, I'm not sure which game it was, but Reece Williams came on late injury. I think it probably was the Everton game. And I think what's great about the setup and the maturity around the players that we have in around those young players is that Henderson will like drop deeper and take that responsibility of being the ball playing centre back away from those type of players. And I think it gives more confidence when they've got the insurance of knowing that there's a Hendo that's going to run back there. There's a Genie that's going to fill that space. You know, all these players, Klopp's built that work ethos in of, you know, get those men behind the ball, make sure you're hunting in numbers and hunting that ball down. And I do really feel for Nico Williams. You know, comparing him to Trent's world class. Anyone you're going to compare against Trent is going to fall short. But I feel like we just got to encourage him. He's 19 years old. He's still developing his game. He's still learning his strengths. And I feel like, you know, Trent was still learning his strengths. Trent, I think he's got bodied a few times by a few wingers, and you need to grow from these performances. And I feel Klopp instills that within his players, and I feel like he just has to do that. The abuse is wrong. Don't get me wrong. I feel like he just has to see that and take it in a positive line, in a positive sense. He says, "Okay, I need to work on my game and just get your head down, keep working through it, and eventually the praises will come through."
Exactly, yeah. G Beats has a comment up there. Who can we play though, Keith? We have no one to rest Genie for. You can't lash Kane or Clarkson in there. And look, it's a very good point. I was thinking, you know, along the lines of putting Bobby in there. That was my suggestion. A lot of people are like, what are you talking about?
Mental.
I just think Bobby can drop in. He drops in there all the time. And I think if you have Bobby doing what people think Keita can do, where he's pressing high up, and you have him just sitting there pouncing on a holding midfielder. And look, you know, I'm going to quickly run through the Ajax team after this. So we'll do it now. But yeah, I was going to put Bobby there. So if you look at the Ajax team, Ajax have gone with Onana in goal. They've got Shores and Alvarez, looks like two. Oh, and Daily Blind. Right, so they're in there. You've got Mazraoui and Tagliafico in the wing backs. You've got Klassen, you've got Gravenberch, and you've got
Tadic,
Neres, and Anthony. Right, so they're playing probably a 3-4-3 of some sort with that formation.
I think Blins will be in midfield.
Do you think he's going to go? Yeah, so Blind will sit there. But I mean, if Blind is sitting in midfield, I think Gravenberch is fairly much a sitting midfielder as well. I know he's a bit more energy and a bit more box to box, but and Klassen doesn't really have the legs. So I thought, you know, Bobby in around them would be putting them under pressure. That was my thinking. It's a bit of a mad show. I understand that we don't have a lot of bodies, but
I think what you don't want to do, Keith, is station Firmino anywhere. I think you want to in his usual role and with the license to roam. The
only issue, like my team had Curtis Jones and Firmino in it, so you know you're really accommodating two players that like and need that license. You're right. I think Firmino would actually be more disciplined than Curtis. That's no slight on Curtis. He's only 19. It's a great opportunity for him as well. Let's be honest, lads. It's another game. It's another big game. He's getting a lot at the moment, you know. He's getting the games. He's been shown the faith. But from going through that Ajax team, who do you see as being the danger man, Aaron? Do you see any particular threats in that team?
Yeah, I think the obvious names that will pop out will be your Neres, your Gravenberch, and your Tadic's. But I feel like the people that we've really got to look out for is the wing backs. So I'm looking at your Tagliafico's, whipping in those balls in those deeper areas, the Robertson Trent areas into the box, because you know they're going to be attacking and looking for this to pick up the second ball. They went very conservative in the last game with a low block. I think it was a pragmatic 4-4-2, which they changed up in the second half. But I feel like they've learned their lesson, and I feel like they're out for some blood from last game. So yeah.
Very true.
I think they're trying to match up really with that lineup. They've gone with a front three. and the midfield, as you can see, 2 holders, and David Klaassen is he's multi-tooled. Really, he can do the forward stuff and the defensive side of the game, and it's very much a back 4 for me. Pair of Shures, Mazraoui at right back, Tagliafico. Yeah, Tagliafico is going to be flying up that wing, and that'll be Nico's side. So hopefully Henderson and Jones are at it tonight and drifting over and providing that cover.
Very true, because you're right, Tagliafico will be a threat on that left-hand side for them, especially up against Nico. And the worry is as well, if Anthony plays on that side as well, I think it could be Anthony rather than maybe Neres over on that side. The tricky winger, you know what I mean? It's an option that they're going to have. They're going to look to get as much pace and trickery, I think, against Nico as they can.
Yeah.
You're relying really on, as you say, Hendo and Fabinho. I'm assuming it's going to be Fabinho on the right side of it.
It'll help who's inside him today. It was Phillips at lunchtime on Saturday. So it'll be, I think it'll be, there'll be more confidence beside him and definitely more coaching ahead of him from Henderson. So I think those who are worried about Nico Williams, rest easy tonight. He won't be as exposed.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I think it's one of them. The kid has potential, right? There's so many people slate him, and even look, people are going to be in the comments. Maybe not in the live chat, but we get comments. You know, why do you defend Nico Williams? Why do you defend Nico? Look, he's a young guy. He's not Trent Alexander-Arnold. Trent is nearly a generational talent at this stage. You know, they don't come along, 2 and 3 times a season. This is a guy that's a squad player. He's a backup option. And if Jurgen Klopp has faith in him and Pep Linders have faith in him, they see something that we probably don't. And he hasn't shown in any of his games. Let's put our hands up and be honest about that. But Aaron, is he a worry for you in there? Or do you think what the as we've said, the guys around him will have to really have their work cut out just to help him out? Or are we over-analysing Nico at this stage?
I think we're leaning towards the over-analysis. He needs to find his feet in proper playing against boys. He's been playing against boys. He needs to play against men. He needs to build up. And Klopp has a way of building players up like that. If you look at when Divock Origi, when Jurgen Klopp was in, he was a skinny lad. He got bullied off the ball quite easily, and you can see through he had a burst in one of the seasons where he was just bulky, he gained on muscle, and he just grew into his body. And I feel like maybe it's a matter of that and him just having to work, get in the gym, get his reps in, work with the lads, work on his technique, and eventually he's gonna come through. And if not, I feel like there's also another mentality, and I keep thinking of this. The late great Barcelona's had La Masia as their academy, right? Yeah. And they always brought through great players, but they always sold great players. And thinking about it from an outside person looking in, you think, why are you selling your Delafeus? He could be a great player in that team. Why are you selling your Menages, of this team? You had these potentials, but they always had these buyback clauses on them. So even if he doesn't come good, he's going to probably Edwards and him are probably going to sell him for 20 million to some sucker, and we'll probably buy the next person in. So I'm not worried if he doesn't come through or not. He's still growing into the body. We'll get something from him, whether it be financial or a better player. I'm definitely not worried.
Yeah, it's very true, and it's something that a lot of people don't talk about, Barry, that Aaron has touched on there. Academies, a lot of the big clubs use their academies just to produce players to sell, not necessarily to fill out their first team. So it's probably something that we maybe, a guy comes out of the academy and you want them to do well. You don't just want to, get him in there to sell him on. But Liverpool are at that stage now where they do have a reputation that players will take these guys on. Nico Williams is a Welsh international as well. He's, people see something in this lad. He's not a mug, but it's very interesting. Look, Barry, I want to move on to the midfield. And before we do, Antoinette makes a good point. It's hard when compared to Trent. Look, it's ridiculous, when you're compared to a player like that. He's not Trent. Of course he's not. And that's Antoinette's spot on. It's such a hard comparison to make. It's ridiculous, and it's one that'll be held against him, unfortunately. And it is what it is. But look, we'll just have to wait and see. Dylan Clayton, a good friend of mine, big chance for Curtis to redeem his first Ajax performance. Felt he was a passenger then, Keto. So, Barry, Curtis Jones, a lot of people criticised him in that Ajax game. I had a bit of sympathy for him in the sense that I thought the team were poor that night, and he was just getting highlighted. But then the flip side of that is it's hard to excuse him, a 19-year-old, when Gravenberch was bossing it and he's only 18 or something as well. And you have Shores is only 18, I think, as well at the back for them. Age for some people shouldn't come into it, but sometimes we use it as an excuse. Do you think Curtis has improved since then?
For me, Curtis, he still has a bit of a good game and a bad game. And the Ajax one wasn't great, but he was denied an opportunity in the second half to, improve on that and redeem himself. So I wouldn't be overly critical on that one, because he comes back and is terrific in the away game against Atalanta, and he's since put in stellar performances against Leicester. So for me, you can be a little bit overcritical, and I mean the Liverpool midfield is. I'll say it again. It's extremely difficult because the workload is probably 2 or 3 times what any other team asks of their midfield. So to come in and have to replicate the performances of Georginio Wijnaldum and Jordan Henderson, oftentimes one of them's missing when you've been chucked in there. I can only be very pleased by what I've seen by Curtis Jones so far. So I'm delighted to see him in there, and I know I'm guaranteed a hell of a lot of work rate from that midfield tonight.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, Aaron, something Barry touched on, the workman qualities of our midfield, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but if you look how Gini Wijnaldum plays for the Netherlands, and you look how Gini Wijnaldum sacrifices that game for Liverpool, it does take a special kind of player to function in that midfield, doesn't it?
100%. I think if you're looking at the Netherlands example with Gini, he's probably the most attacking midfielder there, and it shows because every international break on my Twitter feed, I'm getting highlights of him scoring headers against Germany or getting assists, and you're thinking like, wow, can't wait for this Gini to come back. And then you realize Klopp asks him to do something different, sacrifice his play, give his legs and the engine room in his body to be cover every single bit of grass on that field, and just recycle the ball constantly, move that ball, keep it moving along the ground. And hats off to him, because that's a proper sign of a true competitor. I mean, I'm not comparing him to the great Tom Brady, but it's like Tom Brady. It's that ethos, isn't it? Of do your job and everything else will fall into place. And I think he breathes that from Klopp.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it's a very underrated quality to have. But look, I mean, Curtis, as Owen is saying here, Jones hasn't really had a bad game since Ajax. That was his first game in the team. Since then, he's had a run of and excelled in games like Atalanta and Leicester. Nico has had a run and gets worse. And look, we can't scare it away from that. Nico hasn't really kicked on. I think that poor young fella is just it's got into his head, and maybe he doesn't have the confidence and the swagger that Curtis Jones has. But Owen is right. I thought against Leicester, especially, I thought Jones was excellent in that game, and you just hope that he's building on it. And if we get one player like Curtis Jones into that first team, established into the midfield area, it saves you a lot of money having to buy a player for that, doesn't it, lads? It's really an excellent way, as we've said, of saving your cash. So whether you're producing players to sell or you're producing players that are good enough, it's going to work out for you in the long run. So look, it's great. It's great to see that. I want to move on to the front three, lads. So as we said, it's Jota, it's Mane, and it's Salah. Are you surprised by that selection, Barry?
No, it's the 3 guys that, well, I'll say maybe Salah and Mane both had the kind of the opportunity to rest some of the game against Brighton. So those 2 are absolutely nailed on. And I mean, the one wee question that you had to answer was, does he go with the tried and trusted front 3 for the big European games? Or does he put in the hottest player in England at the minute? So stick with the guy that's banging them in at the minute. So no, it's the front three I expected.
Yeah, and Aaron, Barry is right. You know, Jota is he's the hot hand at the moment. But do you think Mane and Salah maybe need to step up, maybe just a little 5% and pick up their performances maybe have been a bit off lately. Let's put it that way. And we can put that down to tiredness, you know, and there's a lot of fatigue around, even this early in the season. Do you think they need to maybe just pick that game up a little bit, and it's tonight they can do it?
You know, I'm always hesitant to criticize any Liverpool player, right? And I feel, and deep down, I probably do feel like they do need to pick their games up. I'm not seeing as many goals and assists as I would like, but that's just probably like the inner fan of me that wants to see 3-4 goals a game. Yeah. The Jurgen Klopp of yeah, it is. But no, honestly, no. As long as we get the wins, I couldn't care less what they do. Well, not what they do, but how they play. As long as they get up the line, because they are contributing to something. Michael Edwards and the team, they're using their data analytics. I'm a big. I work in the technology background myself, but I'm quite. You know, I love data. I'm a bit of a nerd in that sense. And they put them on the pitch for a reason, because they know they do stuff that maybe is unquantifiable to some teams, has, you know, certain value by having them on the field compared to other people we have. So they're doing something on the field. Whether we can see it is a different story, but yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, I think everybody has an opinion on the front three and has an opinion on individuals, each individual in that front three. I'm hoping that tonight is, you know, as Dynamo Kev puts up there, if the front three are on fire, we don't need to worry about who's at the back. And it's a very good point. I have a sneaky feeling that Salah comes alive tonight. I think he's had a rough few weeks with the COVID situation over the international break and whatever fallout may have been with that. I don't know. You don't know what to believe when you read things, or you try and read between the lines of a Jurgen Klopp press conference. You could be made look a fool. But his reaction to being substituted on Saturday. Yeah. His reaction to being substituted on Saturday, a lot of people weren't happy with it. Now, an elite player is never happy to come off. You know what I mean? But it was highlighted. I think Grizz actually highlighted it on their show. You know, he just ignored Klopp, and it was bad form. You don't want to see him doing that.
Did you see Mbappe's face last week against Leipzig?
Yeah, Mbappe's throws several strops when he's come off in the past. Like, he's practically gone to throw a dig at Tommy Tuchel in the past when he's been taken off. You know, so good players never, ever want to be taken out of a match. You know, they really don't. But I just think, I think Salah gets negative press in any way with the whole go down too easy, the diving narrative and agenda that's being driven out there. I just have a sneaky feeling that tonight that he could catch fire again and really put it to Ajax. And I'm hoping, you know, I don't care which one of the three does it, lads. Once somebody does it, I think it could be good. Before I move on, I want to have a quick talk about the bench, lads, if you don't mind. We've got two goalkeepers on there. Yeah. We've got Adrian and we've got Jaros. It's a bit of a strange one.
I'm telling you, he doesn't want to risk Adrian. There must be something else going on with Alisson. You know, he's not going to risk Adrian tonight.
I heard rumors on Twitter. Whether they're true or not is a different story. But I hope it's not what the rumors are saying.
Jesus, you can private chat us that in a few minutes, Aaron. We won't say in case it's libelous. We won't put ourselves on the block there. But I know. Look, it's a bigger bench in the Champions League. So we've got Adrian.
There will be 5 subs tonight.
Yeah,
he make Yaros a debut.
Who knows if we're winning, it could be an option, you know, because who knows. But yeah, it's Adrian, it's Jaros, and then for defense, we've got Reece Williams and we've got Tsimikas. That's fine. That's covering a fullback and a centre back. Jay Kane and Leighton Clarkson in the midfield. It'd be great to see one of them getting a run at some stage. I'm not going to lie, but that will totally rely on us being ahead. Yeah, exactly. Heavy ahead. But look, we'll see what the story is there. And then Minamino is another option there that can go into the middle. And then Divock and Bobby. I mean, there's some options on that bench. That's all. It's, you know,
we may not need them, but 5 subs will be used, and everyone you mentioned there, Clarkson, Minamino, Origi, they'll get on the pitch.
Yeah, I'd like to see, like I say, one of the young lads, it'd be nice to see them in. I think Klopp will make 4 subs personally, and he'll hold one back in case of an injury, because that's what he's saying, isn't he? He's afraid to make, he gets criticised for not making the 3 changes, but he usually says, look, I have to hold one back. You can't make them, you know, so it's just a bit of a dodgy one, isn't it, at that? So yeah, just some of the comments coming in there, lads. Paul Joyce said Alisson unlikely to play against Wolves. Joyce confirmed that it was a hamstring. Look, we just have to hope. A lot of people are asking a question before we finish up, are asking about an injury record of Alisson. Is it something that concerns you, Aaron? I'll start with you. Alisson has picked up a lot of different injuries over the last year, like since the start of last season. Is it a concern for you?
It's a great question, because he was, after Van Dijk, the missing jigsaw piece to the team, to be honest. That ball playing, the sweeper keeper, to be honest, the guy that's going to rush out, the guy that's making you going to sit on the edge of your seat, cringe every time the ball gets played over the top and he clears it away, and you're like, whoa, just take a goal, please. Yeah. It does a little bit, but I feel he's still young enough to get him over these little niggles. I feel like if I'm comparing him to someone like Matip, I know we got him on a free, but I'm more concerned over Matip injuries, because he came a bit of a standout player for us in that season when we won the Champions League, and you only got to look at that under pressure pass he played when he's getting pressed by I think it was Son, and he just sprays it out to Robbo on the left wing, and Robbo just runs up the field, and he's got that real quality. Yeah. I'm more worried about Matip for sure over Alisson.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's managing those minutes in Matip. If we lose Matip or Fabinho for any sustained period, it's really going to put the pressure on. I love seeing Reece Williams and Nat Phillips playing. I think they're both doing really good, but you don't want to have to rely on them. So it's important, I think, that we can get out of here with no injury. So lads, we'll finish up now. We'll get you our predictions and goal scorers as well there. Aaron, I'll start with you. What score do you think it'll be tonight, and who do you see scoring the goals, if anyone?
I think it's going to be 3-1. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet. I feel like probably 2 from Jota, 1 from Mane. If it's not Mane, then it's Salah. And I feel like Tadic will get the goal for Ajax. Yeah. I feel like we're going to have to work our way into the game a little bit. I feel like even though we're at home, I feel we're going to have to build our play up. I feel like we'll probably come alive in the second half against them. That's my prediction.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair prediction. And what about you, Waddy?
4-0 Liverpool.
Good man after me on the heart.
You've asked the front 3 to show you something, and they will indeed show you something. It's been a while since we've seen all front 3 on a score sheet. I think we'll get that tonight, and I think they'll be fighting over a penalty at some stage tonight. So all our VAR woes all swept away in one lovely 90 minutes tonight.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Look, I think we'll win as well, but I think that all the time I can see us getting 3-2. It'll be a tight one. I think the way I'll go, I think we'll be 3-1 up. We'll concede a relatively late one and then be an nervy ending to it. But look, hopefully we'll be fairly comfortable up till then. I think I have a feeling that we might see Matip on the score sheet tonight for some reason. I have this thing about big centre halves getting up and scoring goals. It's very, very rarely that excites me more than seeing a big lump of centre back getting a scruffy goal. So I'm going for Matip.
They aren't tall.
Ajax, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, Matip is, he's ungainly as well, and he's hard to mark. So we'll see. I think
Sure is a big guy, but other than that,
but he's young as well, isn't he? So
he can be bullied. Yeah,
you'd hope so. I think he's a player that we're looking at as well. So it'll be very interesting to see what he's made of. So it's one to keep an eye on. But listen, lads, I'm going to let you drop off now, and then I'll finish up the show. So Barry and Aaron, thanks very much for joining me for this pre-match show.
Goodbye, Keith.
Good stuff. I'll talk to you again soon. So that was Barry and Aaron giving us their thoughts on the game. As I said, I think we'll win as well, but I'm one of these. overconfident, ever confident top Reds, afraid to criticise the team merchant. So that's just my take on it. We'll be back later on post game, 10:15. I know Gav is going to be on. I don't know who else is on with him. I think there's a couple of people going to be on, and it'll be a much more in-depth show than we do here. So look, hopefully it'll be something to celebrate, it'll be something to talk about, and we will see us all again soon. So I'll wrap it up there and talk to you all later.